And here is another Waterbuck bull. There were two of them, in fact, and they were busy posturing off at one another, trying to stand their ground. They did lock horns briefly, and then they stopped. But welcome everybody, and good afternoon. It's lovely to have you with us on Safari Live. And my name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is, of course, VM. Now, we're coming to you live from the Sabi Sands up in the northeastern part of South Africa. And we'll see what we can find for you this afternoon. Now, don't forget, we are live, so send us your questions and your comments. Hashtag Safari Live via Twitter is how you do it. And we'll hopefully get through most of your questions, and we always enjoy hearing from our viewers, and it does help us a little bit too. Now, as I said, these two male Waterbuck were busy having a bit of a standoff. I think they just had a drink. They moved away from the dam, which is off to our right. We're going to drive past that soon. But two very big male Waterbuck just having a bit of a standoff. And it's always nice to see these beautiful large antelope. That very prominent white ring around the rump. A nice start, something different to the start of the show. You can see those horns, how they curl forwards like that. Probably one of the hairiest antelope out here. They do have fairly shaggy coats, especially around the neck area. Their coat is quite long. Suppose them and the Inyala. And they've also got, the male Inyala have got fairly long shaggy coats. They're just moving off through the thicket there now. As I said, this is the little dam, the little water hole that they went and drank from. It's Treehouse Dam off to my right. So we're going to continue. Of course, we've got Megan in the final control this afternoon with us. And unfortunately, it sounds like our team in the Mara have experienced some technical difficulties because of bad weather. So it may just be myself and VM out this afternoon for Safari, which is okay. So I'm going to do my best to entertain you for 3 hours. Oh, that's it's going to be interesting. It'll just be, I suppose, it's like a normal game drive for me with guests. Some of our game drives will last 3.5, 4 hours at times, depending what we see. So I'm hoping we find a lot this afternoon. And maybe we'll have a few different animals. Have a look over there. Beautiful little Steenbok. I'm sorry, everyone, if our picture is disappearing now and then. Just going through a little bit of a dodgy signal area, but I think it'll be fine from here on. Wonderful little Steenbok, always enjoyable seeing them. That's a young male, or little male, not young. Well, Brenda, you asked if antelope lose their teeth like the elephants do. Brenda, I'm just trying to think now. I don't think they do. So obviously, Brenda, and for those of you who aren't sure what she means by the elephant, and like the elephant lose their teeth, the elephant, what happens is throughout their lifetime, they grow teeth that replace the teeth that get worn down. So they go through about 6 sets of teeth throughout the lifespan of an elephant. That's generally why the elephant lived to an average age of about 50 or 60 years old. Because as the last set of teeth wear down, they struggle to feed, and often they die from old age and not being able to get all the nutrients and food that they normally would feed on. Now, I haven't heard of the antelope losing teeth or replacing teeth like that. I stand to correction, but I don't think it happens in the antelope. The antelope, generally, their teeth, they'll obviously wear down a bit, but not to the extent of the elephant. And also, the antelope won't live nearly as long as that. So, shorter lifespan, it's unlikely that their teeth will wear out and that they'd have to be replaced. It's a nice warmish afternoon. It's a bit cloudy. There's a few clouds around. I'm not sure if it's any concern for rain. I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. But just a nice cloudy afternoon. And it's about 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Somewhere around there. So quite a pleasant afternoon. VM, I've just spotted a very beautiful bird, and I don't know if our angle is okay, just up here at the top of the tree. There we go, look at that. There's that one there, and then just further down, VM, if we can see it. Oh, where did it go? Oh, it just moved. It's a beautiful red-headed weaver. Oh, off to the left, VM, just on the bottom branch. There it is. Oh, no. It keeps disappearing from us. It's a beautiful red-headed weaver. There it is. Hold on. Let's see. We've got to get this on camera for you because these colors are magnificent. There we go, VM. Maybe that helps a bit. And I think with that darker background, you might be able to see it a bit better. There it is. Oh, there it comes. Back up. Is that too high for us, VM? Is it alright? Oh, it's very difficult to see, actually, isn't it? There it is. There we go. Oh, well done, VM. Fantastic. The red-headed weaver. Beautiful red-headed weaver. It's got such bright coloration for a little weaver. Normally we're used to seeing the yellow weavers. We've got a few different species of yellow weavers around, but one of the weaver birds, the red-headed weaver. Now, funnily enough, it actually gets its name red-headed weaver because it's got a red head. Just in case there was any confusion. Kim, you say you love the weaver birds. So do I. It's fascinating what these weavers are able to do with nests and the plant material that they gather. Now, it looks like this weaver's trying to break a few of the stems off this marula tree off, possibly trying to use it for a nest. You see that? Is he picking away, trying to use it? What I find fascinating too, and let me see if I've actually got it in my book. I'd like to show you something about these weavers. And I know a lot of you enjoying this beautiful bird. It is lovely. Oh. Unfortunately, this book doesn't have it, but what I wanted to just show you or explain to you was how these weaver birds, every species of weaver, builds a different type of nest. Now, some of them all look very similar, these woven baskets, and we'll try and look around and see if I can find a few for you. I don't know if there are any around at the moment, but they all build different nests, and some of especially the masked weavers and these red-headed weavers, they build these beautiful baskets. However, every weaver species has got a slightly different nest, and with these weavers that build those beautiful baskets, the entrance will be slightly different. So some of them, and if I can explain it like this, it might be easier if I show you. So some of them, the little baskets, the entrance is usually from the bottom to the side of the nest, Some of them will have actually no little lip to the entrance of the nest. Some of them will have a slight little lip, little entrance. And these red-headed weavers actually have a long little tunnel about that length which leads into the nest. So all the nests are slightly different. Every species of weaver builds a different nest. Think of those red-billed buffalo weavers. They build those big, thick nests above waterholes. What other weavers? We don't see them here, but thick-billed weavers, they build a nest usually in reeds, and it's a clump of plant material clustered together, built with two reeds that they bend over, and they weave the basket around that. So each little weaver builds a different nest, which is fascinating. So they are quite interesting. Now, there was a study, and I find this incredible. There was a study done. I can't remember which university. I think it was a university that did this. And I've mentioned this before on Safari Live, but for some of our new viewers, they did an experiment with a species of weaver overseas. Now, this weaver, or this particular weaver species, only uses a certain type of plant material to build its nest. So what they did, they constructed a study. They put weavers in a closed environment, or controlled environment, where they could monitor what vegetation was around. So they took away the vegetation that they usually use to build the nest, so they were unable to build the nest. They did this, and they kept it away from these particular weavers, who still bred, laid eggs, and raised chicks for, I think it was 4 generations, about 4 generations of weavers that were raised this way. So they were never exposed to that particular grass that they used to build their nest. They then took that 4th generation, released them into a natural habitat with that plant material, and those weavers knew immediately to gather that plant material and build their nest with that that type of grass. And they built the basket or the weaver nest just like they would do in the wild. And it's incredible. Genetically, they just knew that that was a plant material they had to use. So a fascinating study, I think, that was conducted there, and very interesting. It's actually the male weaver, male of the species that builds the nests, not the female. And one of the reasons why the males build the nest is to attract the female, to attract the mate. It's just like, it's basically the most impressive hope will attract the female. Now, interesting enough, some of the weavers, birds, if the females see the nest and she's not happy with it, she'll tear down the nest, break it apart, and the male has to start all over again. So not very friendly. Omar, the male and female red-headed weavers do look different. So that first one, I think that Via managed to show you, was a female. She's more slightly light yellowish, brownish coloration, and the male has got that beautiful bright red head. The female doesn't have it. So they do look different in that species. But with most of the weaver species, so some of the birds, sorry, I'm just trying to think of which way to go here. Some of the weavers, they change. The females are more of a brownish coloration. The males a bit more colourful, or duller coloration, I suppose you could say, for the females. Yvonne, you say that was number 145 on your bird list. That's great. A nice addition to your bird list. And Lorena, you said it's 138. That's a good bird list. I'm assuming that's just for Djuma, your bird list for Djuma, and that's a great number, I think, that you've got there for this area. Hopefully try get you some more in going into the summer months. Space Chief, you asked about any interesting birds that migrate here seasonally. There are a number of interesting birds that migrate here throughout the year. Well, not throughout the year, that during the summer months. So now October, November, December, start getting all the migratory species returning to southern Africa. And the reason for that is the summer months, they come down, they breed, it's warmer, there's a lot more food for them, there's water, good vegetation to build nests, so we get all those migratory species returning. And then they'll leave around March, April next year, they leave and fly north for our winter. So they're going in search of warmer climates. Now, some of the species include some of the kingfishers, the woodland kingfisher, which is beautiful, all the cuckoo species, well, most of the cuckoo species, which are always great to see. Some eagles, like the Waterbuck's eagle. So there's a number of bird species that migrate. Those are just some of the ones that we see quite regularly down here. But there are a number of species of birds which migrate throughout the year, or well, in summer. So the best time for birding in southern Africa is the summer months. That's the best chance you have of seeing all the birds. Most of them, in fact. Now, I'd like to have a look around here and see if that young male leopard isn't perhaps in this area somewhere. Was he around there? Okay, let's have a look around here. Tristan had him this morning. Now there are two Steenbok standing very still close by. So they don't look too nervous about anything. So I wonder if perhaps this young male leopard moved off. Now I think it was Hosanna that Tristan had in this area this morning. He may still be around. However, it did start warming up a bit today, so I wonder if he didn't go and look for some shade somewhere. Maybe headed down towards the Mulawati, the drainage line. Justin, now you've asked if there are any birds I can think of that I'd like to bring back from extinction. Justin, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I was thinking this. Ashley, in the final control, she says, what about the dodo? Yeah, maybe the dodo. Quite a strange looking bird, I suppose, from pictures we've seen of the dodo, the extinct dodo, which was found on Madagascar, if I'm not mistaken. Pterodactyls? You want a pterodactyl back, Viam?
Yeah, why not?
That could be quite interesting. So I'm just having a good look around here. I'm checking the shady areas. As I said, with it warming up, maybe this has decided to move into the shade somewhere. But he could be anywhere now. That's the joy of these young leopards, is they'll settle down in the morning, but then they tend to move around during the day. So he could be anywhere right now. Let's see. Maybe we get some tracks along the road here. I've got to check quite carefully to make sure we don't miss anything. I don't see anything just yet. I would also really like to see some elephant this afternoon. I haven't seen elephant for quite some time, so that would be nice. But look, if we manage to find a leopard, if we find a leopard first up, that would be first prize. Chatwa, saying any sort of cat sighting on this fine day would be great. I agree. It would be exciting. It would be wonderful. Let's have a look around here, perhaps. Just see, maybe he's moved down to this waterhole. Actually, now that I think about it, this morning, right up until about 12, 1 o'clock this afternoon, it was still fairly cool. It was overcast, coolish weather, so that would just be perfect for a leopard to move around. Nothing yet. Oh, looks like we've got our work cut out for us this afternoon. Try to find out where this young leopard went. Now, Tristan and I were joking about this the other day. As we were saying, in the mornings we seem to be finding a lot of leopards, and then all of a sudden we go back to the same place in the afternoon and they disappear. But we've been lucky with all our leopard sightings. We've had Tundi on a kill with Hosana heading there, basically stealing a little bit of a kill that she had left. And then we had Shadow with her cub, and then Hosana joining them and taking the kill, or what was left of the kill. So it looks like this young male leopard is doing very well at scavenging off the females in the area. I'm just checking carefully here, so I don't want to miss anything along the road. I'd like to see if perhaps this leopard moved down and across the road down towards the drainage line on my left. But I think we should just check very carefully around here. I hope all of you are having a great week so far, middle of the week. So, and it's been a great week for us so far, lots of leopards, which isn't bad. Well, it sounds like we've got some good news. The Mara seem to have some signal back, so hopefully they'll be with us for most of the show. But Jamie's sitting in the studio, so let's go across to her now and find out what she's up to this afternoon.
A very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome. As you can see, we have had a little bit of rain this afternoon, and by a little bit of rain I mean an enormous amount of rain. So my name is Jamie, and this afternoon Jeandre will be on camera with me on those rare occasions where you do see me. But I'm sitting up on top of our escarpment, on top of the Olololo escarpment, looking down across the Mara Plains. Now what you're looking at in front of you is where the water collects from the little river that runs next to or close to our camp, right down to a little dam, and then all the way down the escarpment. And if you look a little bit to the right, first of all, that's a main road. Now, I'm hesitant to touch the setup of this mountain camp. There is a main road there, and I'm hesitant to touch the mountain camera, just on the basis that it after the rain has developed some interesting little quirks, and it tends to go flying up and points at the sky or occasionally elsewhere. So I'm going to try and keep things relatively steady. That's the road, the main road, where all that water is, and I've just watched about 6 cars drive up to it, stop, look terrified, and then forge their way through. And to the right of that, you can see there's a little bit of a ditch. And that, you see just on the right of that large body of water, that is the Angama lugger, or the Angama drainage line. That's where we always find that particular pride at the base of our mountains. And if we take a little zoom out there, now it's incredible just sitting watching this, just how much of the water has actually already been soaked up by the marsh-like land of the Masai Mara. If you look there, on the top left-hand corner of your screen is the Chitwa airstrip, and you can see it's basically a marsh below that. And that drainage line, or that line of trees, just in front of the airstrip, which is in the top left corner, that is where we found that little lion cub all those weeks ago, and when we saw those little lion cubs playing with the blanket. Beyond that is an even larger collection of trees, an even larger tree line, and that is the magnificent Mara River, and I'm sure it is flowing a great deal more than it was when we recorded most of the following footage.
Rising on the western edges of the Great Rift Valley and flowing into Lake Victoria some 245 miles away, the Mara River is a rich vein of life flowing through one of the world's most iconic wildernesses. Fed by African thunderstorms, the rapids and pools are home to countless creatures of all kinds. All of these animals find sustenance in and around the river's water. For the wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle of the Great Migration, the Mara River is the quencher of thirst and a fatal gauntlet. The herds cross the torrent for better grazing. But beneath the muddy surface lurks some of the world's biggest crocodiles. They have been waiting for the migration for almost a year. For those that survive the water, rocks, and crocodiles, pastures of sweet oat grass await.
It's great that Jamie will be joining us this afternoon too from the studio. Maybe they get some action on their river cams this afternoon. I'm checking some of the water holes just in case. You never know. Animals go down and drink at various times. Generally just when they're thirsty. There's no set time for animals to go down and drink. I haven't had any sign of that leopard though. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to that little pan where Tristan had that leopard this morning and just have a good look around there. See if I can work out exactly which direction he went. I was secretly hoping that he would just still be lying there and it would make it a lot easier for us to find him. But that's not always the case. And like I say, it was nice and cool this morning, so that leopard could have been moving around for a few hours after drive. See if there are any interesting birds around here, perhaps. Now I wonder what happened to, we used to have that beautiful giant eagle owl that frequented these trees, these beautiful jackalberries, but it hasn't been around for quite some time. Maybe it just moved, found another tree. I didn't do it. You asked if there are any kookaburra birds here. No, we do not get kookaburra birds in Africa. That's only in Australia. So we don't have any kookaburra birds. I think one of the birds, I suppose some of the birds that look similar to a kookaburra would probably be the kingfishers, maybe the giant kingfisher. Let me show you a picture of one quickly. Hold on, let me just stop over here. It's a bit flatter. Let me just find it for you. So I would say that giant kingfisher probably is the closest looking bird we have to a kookaburra. but we do not have kookaburras out here. Here we go, there's a giant kingfisher. Now look at that beautiful bird. Now, we may need to get somebody to Google an image of a kookaburra for us, and maybe they can tweet it so you can see the difference. But I would guess. Now, I've never seen a kookaburra. I've only seen a few images, but I think that's what they look like, all the way down under in Australia, mate.
I've seen a kookaburra.
Have you seen a kookaburra?
Huge.
Really? They're big, hey? Yeah. Whoops. Some of them get to about this size, don't they?
The one I saw was about that big.
Was it about that big? Yeah. Okay. So maybe that's a bit over exaggerated, but I don't know. I think some of them, but that big, that's a big looking kingfisher, I suppose. But we'll see. I think that's the closest bird we have that looks like the kookaburra, the giant kingfisher. But none in Africa. Phil, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen peregrine falcons here in the Sabi Sands. I mean, we do get them in southern Africa. We do indeed. They generally prefer dry areas. I'm just trying to think where else they've been spotted in southern Africa. And just have a look for you quickly. But I've never seen in this area in the Sabi Sands. They say they do occur here. Also, if we have a look, so why I say they generally prefer dry areas. This is the distribution of the peregrine falcon. So they say year-round, but it varies. But you can see in the deserts of Namibia, those very, very dry, harsh conditions around there. And then, of course, up here, this is Zimbabwe and Mozambique. And then this section here, it says that we get them out here, but I've never seen in the Sabi Sands. I wonder if Tristan's ever seen one. I would assume Tristan's probably seen. And then down the southern part of South Africa too, down there. So they say they get them around there.
Living on the plains.
Oh, really? Oh. VM says he has seen one on Cheetah Plains. Apparently there was some living there. That's interesting. Yeah, I've never seen the peregrine falcon out here. It's funny, some birds, even though they occur in the area, doesn't necessarily mean that you've seen them. Is that a little squirrel sitting? Is that something there? Yeah. My eyes playing tricks on me? No, it's a little squirrel. I thought so. It's perched on top of that branch. I wonder what that squirrel is doing up there. Just enjoying the view, perhaps. Now, occasionally, I mean, especially in the mornings, you do see squirrels coming out of their little burrows in trees in the holes. They will come out and stand on branches and basically stand in the sunlight and warm themselves up. So maybe that's what that squirrel's doing, trying to warm up. Trying to get some sun rays, although the sun has disappeared behind some clouds now, again. As I said, it is quite a cloudy afternoon. Alright, let's head back to that waterhole and see if we can't get any sign of that leopard, that young male leopard. I feel like we've been so spoilt with leopard sightings the last few days. Tristan and I both have had a lot of luck with leopard sightings, and it's really fun and interesting to see the behavior, especially from that young male leopard. Also just checking this drainage line very carefully. You never know. Could very well have moved down into the drainage line, thicker area. Okay, well, I'm going to head back to that pan quickly. Let's go back across to the Mara, and Jamie is sitting in the studio. And let's see if there's any luck on those river cams this afternoon.
She says it's not so tight. Okay, so we might actually have caught that little moment of me telling Jean-Ray to zoom out slightly from my nose. But there's something actually quite serious that we have to discuss, because I know a lot of people have been asking about it. I haven't been on drive since, but it's something that we do need to mention, we do need to talk about. So obviously yesterday morning, at the end of the sunrise safari, Craig and myself bumped into a brand new baby elephant that then took her first steps while we were sitting there watching. And we did go live with it, and we went live on Facebook. And I had a funny feeling about it from the beginning, but I sort of pushed it back because something didn't feel right, but I didn't want to be somebody who was unnecessarily negative. Unfortunately, we sat with the baby elephant for the entire time, and unfortunately that baby elephant didn't make it. The vet was called, the vet didn't make it in time. To be completely honest with you, I think that even if the vet had made it with a few minutes to spare, I don't think it would have survived anyway. I think it was past the point in terms of dehydration. It's something that we're going to discuss, and there's a great deal of footage that obviously you guys haven't seen, that we, in terms of the baby standing up and so on. So it's something that we are going to discuss. We're actually putting together a Safari Live story on it. So it's something that we will post on social media once we've completed it. I didn't really feel like talking about it yesterday, and today we tried, but we didn't really finish all of the filming that we needed to do. But it unfortunately didn't make it. Craig and myself drove home in complete silence. I didn't see Craig for the rest of the afternoon. Obviously it's something that was very, very sad, but we were with the mum the entire time, most of the time on her own. There was nobody else with her, there were no other vehicles with her, and she was unbelievable with us. Completely trusting. And I use the word trusting. She's got a brand new baby there. If she's not trusting, she's going to let you know. So she was trusting. A difficult experience, I think, for all of us concerned. And by that, I mean all two of us sitting there. But eventually, at about 2:45, we double-checked on her, and she wasn't breathing anymore. So it's something that was very sad. I'm sorry that you didn't get the follow-up initially. I didn't particularly feel like talking about it, as I said, and the other guides felt it was something that was part of our story from Craig and myself rather than theirs. So that's the whole situation with the elephant. The one thing I was worrying about while we were sitting there was where exactly we were. I've already mentioned the Angama lugger, which is where they raise their cubs, but they do spend quite a lot of time on that particular bridge. The bridge is known as Chini Bridge. It's just after the little governor's camp, and it is a place with absolutely zero cell phone signal and almost a signal black hole, actually, funnily enough. But it's quite a big bridge, and that is where the Angama pride lives, and it is the exact boundary with the sausage tree pride. So that's something that we've been building up over the time that we've got to know the various lines. Our knowledge has greatly improved in terms of the various territories. But we did put together, for our TV shows, we did put together a little bit of an idea of the lines of the Mara.
From the tree-lined gullies to the fertile hillside of the Ululolo Escarpment lives the Angama pride. The 4 lionesses are the mothers and aunts to 13 cubs. The oldest was born in February and the youngest in the middle of June. 13 lion cub appetites are hard to satisfy. Even harder before the migration herds move through the grasslands. There is still food available, especially near waterholes. Tall grass gives cover to the perfectly camouflaged cat. The breeze masks her scent and the sound from her paws. Her meal is wily and wary, this hungry mother will have to try again. While the lionesses are out hunting, the cubs are under constant threat. Danger lurks when they come out to play in front of their enemies. Persistence pays off. Despite the meager pickings, the lionesses manage to feed the cubs. Soon, the migration herds will arrive, and the Angama pride will feast off an abundance of food for months.
I can't believe how much some of those cubs have grown since we recorded all of that footage that you just saw. It's unbelievable. The little Angama cubs are now easily double that size. The sausage tree pride cubs the two older ones look almost sort of adultish, sub-adultish. It's amazing how time flies. When I think back to when I first arrived, and the Angama cubs were basically just a rumor, you know, those first two litters. And Jandre and myself actually were the very first people to see the final litter of Angama cubs. We were the first people to see them with Sophie Darlington. It was very special indeed. They were terribly, terribly sweet. So there you go. You've got an idea of the different lines. We are actually going to be continuing to expand on our knowledge of the... Oh, sorry, my earpiece has gone for a walk. We are going to be continuing to expand on the information that we've got and share all that information with you. It's been an adventure. A confusing one at times because, of course, we get different descriptions of which lions are where, and one group of guides calls them one thing, and one group of guides call them the other. So it does get a little bit confusing. But the Angama pride and the sausage tree pride I've spent the most time with. And in fact, I spent the most time with the Angama pride up until we got started with our TV series. And I think it's going to be really wonderful to spend, now that we've got the opportunity to spend a bit more time on the other side of the river, get to know the Black Rock Pride, well, I think we've already started, but get to know them almost as well and watch the 9 little cubs grow up in the way that they will. I think that's going to be truly special indeed. I know that the others have been trying and battling the elements. I don't actually know if the storm on the one side of or the other side of the river was as bad as it was here. I can only imagine that it was. And I'm just going to ask Chantal if she's still got comms with me, because they have been going in and out, and I would like to just double check and see. There we go. Hello. I can hear Rebecca's voice. She's turned into Rebecca. There's some magic things happening in Final Control. Speaking of the people on the other side of the river, I know that I can't even begin to speculate what the storm was like that side. Let's go and find out from Mr. Scotty D himself.
Hello everyone, welcome on board. Very exciting stuff here. We are following a female cheetah, and I've lost sight of her, but she is heading towards some Thompson's gazelle. Now I've just tried to get us into a favorable spot here in case she does in fact chase them. Let me try work out where she is quickly. Oh, they're heading straight towards her, Ferg. She's in between 2 sets of them, but I think they have seen her, and that is why they're running towards her. And Thompson's gazelle can often do that. A little bit to the right, there we go. And there are more Thompson's gazelle off to the right of her, not just the 2 that Ferg panned across before he found her. Now what is going to happen here? Here's some more. Now it's unlikely that she will chase them, because she doesn't have the elements of surprise, but strange things do happen out here, so let's be ready for anything. Now her belly appears quite full, but if I'm not mistaken, I think this female cheetah could well be pregnant, and she was seen in the area yesterday by one of the cheetah researchers. So even though her belly looks quite full... Oh, how cool was that with the Tommies running off? They decided enough was enough. So maybe she is content in terms of meals, and maybe she's not looking for a meal this evening, but it's early to tell, and there's quite a few female cheetah that do move through this general area, so I could well be wrong. Who knows, maybe this female cheetah is the reason why the 5 musketeers have been fighting. We're not sure whether it's with one another or with other cheetah, but they definitely are all a bit wounded. They're all limping a little bit. You'll be glad to know, though, that they are not disabled to the point that they cannot hunt. Ferg and I were lucky enough to see them take down a Coke's Wildebeest about an hour and a half ago. Sadly, of course, there was no signal, otherwise we would have been able to share it with you. It was an incredible, incredible hunt. They chased it for about 200 meters, on and off, and eventually all 5 of them were required to actually pull it down. Little zebra in the background. Well, not such a little zebra, a big zebra. Some lapwings, giving the cheetah a bit of a hard time as it probably walks past their nests. Let's see if they don't bomb dive it again. Oh, there comes some more. Oh, they've called in backups. What a beautiful scene this is. We've got a nice low angle. And it looks like she's going to possibly even be silhouetted shortly if we're lucky. Look at this. What a scene. Hello, Kaylin. You would like to know how large is your average cheetah? Well, your average female would be around 30 to 40 kilos, and your average male probably between about 40 and 60 for a big one. So I'm not sure how well you guys can pick up the sound of all these lapwings, but it sure is creating a serious scene. The neighborhood watch is in full flight. And this cheetah, thankfully, has just decided to head straight towards us. So we parked quite a long way off. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Well, what a pleasure it is to be able to leave 5 cheetah who have just made a kill, to be able to find another one on the move, only a couple of kilometers away. And we got extremely lucky. As soon as we actually arrived here, she started moving. We were with her for no longer than 2 minutes before she got up. And I hope you guys have been having an enjoyable safari thus far this afternoon. I'm not too sure what you've been up to with the others, or what exactly is going on, but it is a great pleasure to have you on board with myself and Ferg, who I'm teamed up with today on camera. Oh, this is so cool. Look at this. This is by far the most lapwings I've ever seen mob a cheetah. Yeah, that must... You guys must be getting some great audio, like Ferg says. He's cranked up the volume on his side. Hi Lynn, you'd like to know if female cheetahs will seek out males. And yes, they will. They will change their behavior quite a lot when they do come into season. They will start scent marking, which is something that they don't ordinarily do. They're all the lapwings. And once they start placing their scent marks all over the trees and bushes where they know the males frequent, that will of course let the males know that there's a female in season, and then I'm guessing they're going to be trying to seek her out more than them, but she's definitely also going to kind of play ball to a degree. But once they get the sense of a female, they're definitely going to be doing their very, very best, especially when she's in season, or only really when she's in season, to try and track her down. I've never been fortunate enough to see an event like that happen in my life, though, Lynn, so hopefully we'll be lucky enough to share that together. The act of cheetah mating is something that's fairly uncommon to document. There's not many videos or photographs I've seen of cheetahs mating, and it can be quite interesting. It can be quite different to seeing leopard and lion mate, because with leopard and lion there's usually only one male. However, with cheetahs, even though there may be dominance within the coalition, what I've been told and what I've seen in a few videos is that certain males will actually be able to slide their way in between their companion and hop on top, so they almost take turns in mating with the females. Who knows what would happen if all 5 of the musketeers got involved? It would be a serious pile-on and lots of chopping and changing. She certainly does seem to be looking for something now, going from bush to bush and smelling. So I wonder if she is maybe looking for the males, or there's something else she may be seeking out. Hello, Tony. You'd like to know if males and coalitions would weigh more than individuals or smaller coalitions? I guess slightly. I mean, there's a slight possibility, yes, that because there's a coalition, or a coalition comes with a lot of power and good hunting skills.
Welcome, and I know we're a little late, but it has been quite the safari. There is mud all but everywhere, and we managed to avoid the worst of the rain. We were literally on the other side, on top of the Rhino Ridge, when that storm hit, and here we go. Jahawi's going to show you. There we go. We're actually, there's a fig tree we had lunch under. The one on the, I think it's the one on the right. There we go. That's where we had lunch. It's the fig tree on the right, so there's 2 on the left and 1 down to the right. There we go, about center frame now. That's where we had lunch, and that's where the storm hit us. Now, on that side, especially down towards the Mara River, when it rains like that, the roads become impassable, so we couldn't actually even get back to the female cheetah we were with this morning. It was already wet and wild while we were there, and with this extra rain would have made it absolutely impossible, and I don't want to be a member of the Marshmallow Club. But there we go, we've got a lovely herd of elephants. There's some small babies in amongst them there. And you can see how dark they are after that. Oh, he's got a short tail. Did a hyena nip the tip of your tail off? Now, sometimes elephants are born with deformities like that, but normally when you see a stubby tail, not a complete absence of a tail, it could be from a predator, and also sometimes from a species of botfly, and the larvae will actually eat through the flesh. Now, they are so dark after the rain. Now, this whole area, you can actually hear little puddle frogs starting to wake up. Tick, 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 tick. Tick, 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 tick. They're obviously in heaven. Now, this whole area below us becomes very, very difficult to drive in and almost impassable. And I will see if we can find some lions, the Angama pride, that do like to hang out in this area. But if they are in one of these really wet and muddy patches, so I forgot, I was so excited to be on. My name is Brent Neesmith, and I have our incredible new cameraman, Jahawi, who's on camera for his first full day. So we've had a great time. We stopped for lunch under a tree. We saw some lions, we saw some cheetah, we saw some zebra, wildebeest, but we were hoping to head back towards those cheetah girls for the afternoon for the evening hunt, but unfortunately it got too wet. Now remember, if you want to ask us any questions, hashtag Safari Live is the best way to get hold of us, and for now we're going to continue on to see what other wonders the Mara has to offer. The Mara is wet, slippery and muddy. I heard Djuma had some rain, but probably not as much. But let's go to Byron to see how full Twin Dams is.
So we've just driven away from Twin Dams now. We're in the Mulwati. We've got a feeling this leopard headed down into this drainage line, the one that we're looking for. I'm just going to drive up this drainage line once, just see if we can find him. And if we don't have any luck, hold on, what does that? What does that? I think that's a cuckoo. Oh, wait. I think that's a cuckoo, everyone. Let's just see if I can get it there for you. There it is. Let's see. looks like it's got its back to us now. Of him there. It just moved. Did you get a glimpse of it? It's just behind that branch. Hold on, everyone. I just want to try and get a view. Maybe through there. I think you can get it where that dark branch is crossing. There we go. There it is. What is that? Is that a red-chested? Oh, that branch is just in the wrong place. I can't make it out. Can any of you see? I think it is. That is a red-chested cuckoo. That's a red-chested cuckoo. I'm excited because I haven't seen one for a long time. And I'm just going to show you a picture of it quickly. And yesterday we were chatting about the cuckoos. And I said my favorite one that I love seeing and hearing is the red-chested cuckoo. That's its call. Sure, that's nice. And it is definitely a red-chested cuckoo. I can see the slight bit of red on the throat. There are a few branches in front of it now, but definitely the signs of the rufous on the chest. You just see this one looks like a younger one, but look here. Let me show you. There you can see it clearly. That very clear barring underneath, and then you can just see that little bit of rufous color on the chest, that red-chested. But look how clear it can get. That's a nice adult with a very clear coloration over there. That's just slightly lighter, but that is a red-chested cuckoo. That's wonderful. Let's see if we can get a bit closer. It's still sitting there. Now that we know where it is, maybe we can get closer before it flies. Stay there for us, please. Vim, is that okay? Without a doubt, a red-chested cuckoo. That's nice. I'm very happy that we can see Roshni, you say 131 for you. That's good. Well, I'm glad, Roshni. R. Lorimer, you said almost looks like a pigeon. Okay, I don't know if maybe. Nice to see this cuckoo though. Now there are some other guests coming down the riverbed, so I'll have to move for them. But what a nice little surprise. Let me just reverse out of the way quickly. Nice that there are other guides in the area, so they can help us check for. Stevie, you say it's prettier than a pigeon. It definitely is. It's just flown off now. And off it's gone, but a lovely view of that red-chested cuckoo. Okay, let's go back to Scott with Cheetah, and I'm going to check this drainage line a little bit better and see if we can find out where that leopard has gone. Hi everyone, hello.
Well, I'm glad you saw the old red-chested cuckoo with Byron. I don't think you get to see them very often, so that's a good one for him to have shown you. Our lady is just relaxing, enjoying the view, as are we. and who knows what her next move will be. I'm guessing that she is going to get up fairly shortly. She does seem quite alert, not too sleepy, so hopefully she takes us on a stroll. The lapwings have kind of quietened down for now, even though you can hear one or two of them squawking in the background. You'll also notice lots of little black dots in the background. There's a whole bunch of wildebeest over there. Possibly a little bit too big for her, but female cheetahs are known to take down young wildebeest from time to time. It's not easy for them, but certainly achievable. Hello, Pugmaster. You would like to know if female cheetah can run as fast as normal when they are pregnant. And, I mean, I would guess maybe up until the last week or two of their 3-month gestation, they're probably going to be moving at the same speed they ordinarily would be able to. They might slow down ever so slightly when they are fully pregnant, but I'm not sure if anybody actually would have been able to do decent tests on that. Now, what we must remember is that a lot of the predators give give birth to very underdeveloped youngsters, especially if you compare them to the herbivores or the prey animals. And the reason for that is that, obviously, a female impala would rather take the risk on herself to be a little bit heavier and then definitely run slower than she ordinarily would be able to, and then that way be able to give birth to a better developed youngster that can run within 15 to 20 minutes of being born. The same doesn't go for predators. Their young will be blind for the first 10 days to 2 weeks of their life. So they've evolved differently, the predators and the prey animals, and I think we would be able to kind of fairly assume that cheetah are not going to they wouldn't actually be able to afford to lose too much speed, because then it would be too difficult for them to catch their prey. If this is the same female that was seen yesterday by one of the cheetah researchers not far from here, her name is apparently Nora. And I don't know too much about her. It's the first time I would have seen her. I haven't spent time with many female cheetahs other than Malika. And I do know that she did catch a scrub hare yesterday morning. She just flushed it in some thick bush and a few pounces and she was on top of it. But that's just a little snack. And of course if it is her, she's got some growing babies in her belly. Now I find it difficult to tell whether a cheetah are kind of hungry or well fed. It's definitely more complicated than lions and leopard. But I do think that she is looking quite swollen. So hopefully she is pregnant. I would love to be able to spend some time with some cheetah cubs with you. That's one thing we haven't really been able to effectively do. Brent got you a few glimpses of some cheetah cubs a couple of weeks back, but that was the only one-off time I think we've had. Hello, Proud Cat Mama. You would like to know, are there any kind of specific differences that cheetah have to the other big cats? And one of the main ones is that their bones and their legs are fused together in a different way, so they don't have as much movement as a lion and a leopard's leg. So climbing trees for them is more tricky. But what it does mean is that when they are at full tilt, those bones allow for them to obviously move more effectively at high speed. So that's one thing. Their tails are quite long and quite big and bushy and needed for balance. So at the high speeds that they travel at, I think their tails are kind of more important, you could almost say, than that of a lion or a leopard. A lion or a leopard without a tail I don't think is going to have a huge issue catching its prey, but I think a cheetah would battle quite a lot without that form of steering. So there's a couple of differences. Very, very wonderful. Hello to Enchanted Music. You would like to know if I've got any idea how many cheetah are in this area. Well, in the entire Masai Mara Reserve, Triangle, and the surrounding conservancy, so it's built up in 3 parts, there are a total of, I'm told, around 65 cheetahs, or at least that was the count last year. So, good cheetah numbers. That's probably in around an area of around 200,000 hectares. Possibly a little bit bigger than that, including the conservancies. We've got access to 170,000 hectares of the Masai Mara, which includes the Triangle and the Reserve. So plenty of cheetah, and I know on this side of the Mara River, in the Mara Reserve, there does seem to be more cheetah than on the other side of the river where Jamie is this afternoon and where our camp is on the Triangle side. Quite often I've been out here and heard many reports of various cheetahs, although we have kind of tended to focus on the Musketeer Coalition. So don't be fooled. Simply because we're only showing you those males for the majority of the time, it doesn't mean there's not a lot more cheetah moving around. And as the weeks and months go by, hopefully we'll be able to get to know them all a little bit better and spend more time with them. They are absolutely great quality and often do a lot of their business during the day, which suits us. It's definitely easier to film and show you guys things during the day compared to the night time. Very good. Well, we aren't going to go anywhere. We're going to stay with this beautiful lady cheetah and see what she gets up to. And we're going to send you back down south to Byron to see how his drive is coming along.
Oh, Scott, I'm enjoying the drive so far this afternoon. We haven't found that leopard or any sign of that leopard again. I think that young male is possibly lying in one of these thick drainage lines somewhere. I think he's gone and hidden himself down there. Maybe he'll pop out a little bit later. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make our way towards Chitwa Dam. We're going to see if there's any activity around there, maybe some animals going to drink. I'm very happy about that red-chested cuckoo though. That was a wonderful sighting. I haven't seen one for quite some time, so nice to see it. And they're also very secretive, like all cuckoos. Very, very secretive, but that's 2 that I've seen just on this stint in the last week. Saw the African cuckoo the other day, now the red-chested cuckoo. Now I know there's been a big request for Klaas's cuckoo, so I'm going to try my best to listen out for it and see if we can find a Klaas's cuckoo. I'm glad Scott has got that female cheetah up in the Mara. I haven't seen cheetah for quite some time. Last time I saw cheetah was actually a few months ago in the Kalahari, in the northwestern part of South Africa. Saw cheetah over there, but I haven't seen cheetah here in Djuma for quite some time. Now, Joe, chances of seeing a snake around this time of year are pretty good, and they're starting to increase, I suppose, our chances of seeing a snake. Because it's getting warmer, the snakes tend to get more active now in our summer months. So maybe we have some luck with the snake, but I haven't had any luck with seeing a snake just yet. I love seeing snakes out on safari. I find them fascinating, and I do enjoy seeing.
Sorry guys, it appears that Byron disappeared into a bit of a signal hole. Sorry about that. Thankfully we were here waiting to receive you, and as you can see, not much has changed here. If anything, Our Lady has become slightly sleepy. We're quite lucky this afternoon. There was a lot of clouds building, some lightning and thunder, even a little bit of drizzle at one stage, but things seem to have cleared up for the time being. So thankfully we're not going to get rained upon. Hello H. Macy, you would like to know if Cheetah will try and defend their cubs as lion would do. And yes, they certainly will defend their cubs, but because they're not as powerful as lions and cannot command as much respect as them, they can only do so much. So, against one hyena, maybe a mother would have a chance to create a distraction. Against animals like jackal and, smaller predators that may cause trouble, definitely. Other cheetah, male cheetah, they might well stand up to. So I think they certainly will have that maternal instinct to do whatever they possibly can to defend their young against whatever is giving them trouble. But generally, out here, size and respect are kind of on a par. So if you're big, you've got a lot of respect. If you're small and quite dainty like a female cheetah, there's only so much respect and so much she would be able to do in a dangerous situation. And rather than giving up her life, not aimlessly, but trying to, stand up to a lion, she would probably flee at the last moment once she's done.
Welcome for a quick crash cut. Unfortunately, Scotty's fighting some gremlins. Now, we've managed to find our way to a very relaxed-looking Angama pride. Don't they look so very relaxed? It looks like they might have caught something quite recently. So they are lying about. There are still some buffalo and whatnot around, but at the moment they're looking like they're very happy the rain is over. They've weathered the storm. So believe it or not, there was actually hail in this part of the Mara this afternoon. So I think they were probably hiding under a tree or in the bushes. And now that the rain stopped, they've all come out into the open. You can hear lots and lots of frogs around. Remember, this is coming to you in Kenya. That lady seems to have smelt, heard, or seen something. I'm going to check with my binoculars. I can't see anything ahead. Nope. But there are quite a lot of warthog in this area. So there might be a warthog heading back towards its burrow after the rain, and she might have spotted it, but I don't see anything just yet. It does look like they've had a good feed in the last little while. And they're very, very relaxed. But I think it's worth having a look and staying here for a while, because it is one of the only areas that is accessible after this amount of rain. So the soils here are quite well drained, so we're not going to sink and disappear up to our diffs in mud. We should be able to sit nicely on top of the grass. So we're actually directly below Angama camp and our final control, which is just around the corner. Riti wants to know how good of a lion sound I can make, Riti. It's for special occasions only. Maybe before the end of drive I'll give you a lion roar. Maybe. Well, I don't want to wake up the kitties after all. But remember, hashtag Safari Live, if you have any questions or requests like Riti did, is the best way to get hold of us. So they are very, very flat at the moment, but just having a quick look around, there are some other animals around and about. Mostly, however, the plain is devoid of life. Riti's wondering if the lions hunt, will they hunt together? Normally, yes, or except for the cubs in this case, Riti. The cubs here will be more of a hindrance than a help to the hunt. So they will normally be growled at, snarled at, and told to sit tight while the lionesses go off and hunt. It doesn't look like there's any particular rush to hunt. So it's difficult to see if they're really full-bellied. The cubs look quite full-bellied, but that doesn't mean the females will be. So there is always the chance that they might hunt, and that's why we do spend so much time sitting with them, because you never know what's going to happen next on a live safari. And I was, see, she's got quite a big tum. And I was hoping that the cubs should start getting a little bit more playful in this cooler weather, depending on how much of whatever they ate earlier. Oh, there's a cub up over there, Jahawi. Oh, and down again. Now, the lions are actually really enjoying this weather after the rain. It's nice and cool. And if they do have full bellies, they're going to sit there and just digest slowly. Now, Adele is wondering, do a lion's teeth rot with age? Indeed, they do. So they get 2 sets of teeth. They got their milk teeth, but they lose it around 6 months old, and then their adult teeth. They do rot, they break, and especially when they get breaks, they can get bad rotting and abscesses in the teeth. But generally when that happens, that animal's probably closer to 12, 13 years old and is towards the end of their life. Sometimes lions can actually die from infections in their teeth, of course, because it stops them eating properly. Now, I was hoping these guys would be more active in this cold weather. They're not, however. Not even a flick of a tail. Well, all there is, as I said that, of course, there's a flick of a tail. And as I said, I'm hoping the cubs start getting a little bit more active and maybe decide to start playing a little bit, because it is wonderfully cool. Now, I haven't spent much time with the Angama Pride over the last while. I'm trying to remember how many cubs they had. I know they had 12, but I'm not sure if they still have 12. So we'll have to try to do a bit of a count. I know there's some off over there, but even in the short grass, with them lying as flat as that, it can be very difficult to spot all the individuals. There we go. I can see 1, 2. I'm going to try a count with my binoculars. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can definitely see 9. Now, it could be that the youngest cubs might have been left somewhere to hide, or they're just lying very flat and I can't see them at the moment. Oh, I can hear some pectoral patch testiculars. Now, we're sitting with the biggest feline predator in the Mara. Now, Tayla has got the fiercest, largest avian predator that we get in the Mara.
Yes, we do, Brent. You got that right. It is a martial eagle. Now, we're at the spot where we left our leopard friend earlier this morning, but he does not seem to be around. I haven't done a proper check just yet because I got distracted, and you can see why I got distracted. It is beautiful. Down on the ground with prey clutched between its talons. Now, I'm not sure what it is just yet, though. We'll have a little look. We'll chat about it now. My name is Tayla, and on camera with me today is Sebastian, and well, better late than never. We're covered in dust at the moment. We did watch a huge crossing, but just unfortunately the gremlins kept attacking us. But I must say, it was the biggest crossing I have seen, and they crossed from the reserve side into the triangle, zebra and wildebeest. It was pretty spectacular, but there's another big herd slowly making their way down that end. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow morning we're going to see another crossing, and maybe the gremlins will be less gremlin-like. But let's take a closer look. Let's try and figure out what on earth this martial eagle has got. Now, initially, I thought that it was part of the leopard kill, because we know that raptors will scavenge too. I've seen many different big raptors scavenging. Tawny eagles and battledeers seem to be the best at it. And you often find them around carcasses, and then I've also seen fish eagles and and yellow-billed kites as well do it every now and then. And then we've got this beautiful creature who is not scavenged, but I think caught a guinea fowl. Just because of those sort of greyish feathers you can see, and almost chicken-like skin, where the feathers, of course, going in underneath the skin, I suspect that it was a guinea fowl. It could be a spur fowl or a francolin. It could be any one of them. This is very cool. Now, Stevie, you've said that their talons look so scary. They are indeed, and they've got massive feet, a tawny eagle, and that's how they determine what size prey they can take, is actually by the size of their talons. And martial eagle have got particularly large ones. We know that martial eagles can take down small antelope species, so a bird is a very easy sort of prey for them. And I would have loved to have seen that. Look at all the blood around the sort of between, or around the cere and the eyes. Oh, lots and lots. That crop very full. What are you going to do? Where are you going to take that? You're going to take it up and hide it. Look how it's grabbed hold of it with one foot and carrying it. That's incredible. Now, P. Hart, you've said that you think it looks like some sort of bird. The kill, yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I just confirmed that. Let me go around again. Let me try reposition very slowly. How great is that? We've had an unbelievable day. I actually cannot believe my luck at all. I want to move around. I just want to give this bird a wide berth. We'll have one more look at it, and then I'm going to start scanning around for my leopard. But he's not in the tree anymore. Maybe he's just around the corner. That's also a possibility. Just standing up here. Just want to go a little bit further away. There we go. There's another little gap. Now, and that's a good spot to feast on something underneath all those trees. There's lots of other raptors around here. Lots of vultures. I thought that I also saw some tawny eagles and things. So, needs to just be careful because they will fight for the kill. Though the martial eagle is much larger. So I think that's really, really amazing to see. Beautiful eyes. And I don't think I've ever seen a martial eagle so close before. And just hiding it like that. That's really cool. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. I hope you're all taking nice screenshots. Remember to hashtag Safari Live, add them to your bird collection. Maybe the martial eagle is a new bird for you. Who knows? And it would be great to know, to let us know what number that is, of course. Oh my word. This is hands down the best martial eagle sighting I've had. In the Sabi Sand in South Africa, we often see them catching water monitors, which is pretty spectacular too. I have seen martial eagles with bird kills every now and then, but more so with of course, the monitors, and they make for the most amazing silhouette. I've been very fortunate enough to have one up against a beautiful skyline and dangling it off a tree, which was amazing. Look how big their feet are. So basically the entire foot goes around whatever bird species that may be. And wow, I didn't realize how big their feet were at all. Now, we know that they're one of the largest eagles, and Proud Cat Mama, you're wondering what is their wingspan. Well, it depends. It can be anywhere from about 2 to 2.4 meters. That's large. So over 6 foot. It's it's a big bird. It wouldn't be able to fit through your doorway with its wings open. It'll probably find itself in a little bit of a trouble and lose some feathers. I can't believe this. I wonder when it killed it. I don't think it killed it too long ago. I know it has plucked most of the feathers out. That's what they will do once they have taken down their prey successfully. They'll make sure they pull all the feathers out. See, I'm trying to see, what are those?
I think it's a
The little spots. You know, you see there's the leg of the bird, that obviously we're looking at the martial eagle legs at the moment and their talons, but you can see just down to the left there's some white speckles, and we know that, well, the helmeted guinea fowl are black and white. So I think that it is most certainly a guinea fowl. Now, Ashley, you said that this is number 50 on your list. Congratulations. That's very exciting. It's a good round number. Ashley, hopefully over the next couple of days we'll be able to add some birds to your list. Today I was relaxing and editing some pictures, and I basically just sat very quietly, which is unlike me, and the only reason why I could sit so quietly was because it was the most beautiful chorus. It was just before we had some rain and big winds, and all the birds were chirping away. There was a grey-headed bush shrike bobbing about right outside my tent, actually, trying to catch all sorts of things, so that was really cool. So you might hear some vehicles. They're just pulling in very closely. I think they're trying to figure out what we're looking at just under the bushes. Like I said, there was a leopard here, but I can't see the leopard anymore. I don't know where he's gone. He was being pestered by the hyenas, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's just moved off. So maybe this martial eagle came in to see why there were so many vultures around and probably didn't find anything left, considering there were so many of them, and the hyenas were here, so they would have eaten that carcass, and then went, okay, fine, I'll just catch one of the guinea fowl that are moving through this area. Amazing. Well, what a great second sighting to the day, but it's not over yet. The show's just getting started. Scott has got himself a cheetah.
Well, that is something that I would love to be able to share with you guys. A martial eagle plucking its prey, not necessarily out of the sky, often off the ground. And interesting stuff over there with Tayla. One day we will get lucky enough to show you a predatory bird doing its business, but it's going to take some time and a lot of luck. So, our lady seems to kind of be waking up a little bit again. It's quite a cool evening. I'm adding on the layers, so that may tempt her to move to keep warm. Although she's got a nice fur coat on that I don't have the benefit of. And I wonder how, if it is in fact Nora, a pregnant female, I wonder how much longer until she gives birth. Hello, Reeti. You would like to know at what age will cheetahs become independent? Well, it all depends on the individual. Just like us as humans, some kids take a lot longer to leave home than others, and it's no different with Cheetah. I'm told Malika had, I think her last two cubs were with her until they were 23 months of age. Now, when you compare that to the two sisters that we've spent time with, the ones Brent was with this morning, they left their mother at around, I think, 13 months. So I think the youngest cheetah will leave and become independent, or at least semi-independent, will be at a year of age, but that's kind of very young. But more often between kind of 18 and 24 months would be the more usual age, or sorry, 12 and 18 months. Anything above that would be kind of staying a little bit longer. Ferg's just leaning out behind the back of the car to see what she was looking at. Anything there, Ferg? Nothing at first glance. Maybe she was just doing a precautionary stare before she puts her head down for a quick 30 winks. Cheetah do not sleep as kind of calmly as leopard and lion will. They're always popping their heads up and looking around, making sure that no other predators are sneaking up on them. I wonder what ended up happening with the Musketeer Coalition. For those of you who have just joined the safari, there were 5 cheetah that make up the Musketeer Coalition that made a kill earlier on today, a Coke's Hartebeest. They're not too far from here, but I think it would make sense for us to stay with this girl now that we are here, because I'm not expecting a whole bunch to happen over there. There's been a news bulletin from Byron in the Sabi Sands. It appears there is a migration of sorts underway. Go and enjoy.
Indeed, Scott. We have our very own migration going on right now in the Sabi Sands. Wildebeest migration. They are heading from east to west across Philemon's dip almost. And nice to see the wildebeest back again. Look at that, very playful. It's on the young wildebeest. Now the reason these wildebeest are back, I assume, is because of all this green grass around at the moment. The short green grass that has popped up over the last week. So nice to see a small herd of wildebeest returning. Maybe soon we will have some more zebra. And it'll be nice to see them on the clearings again outside of camp. I think another few weeks, a bit more rain, and it's going to look very lush, and we're going to see all these animals back here, the herds of impala, also all littered across the clearings. But this is a nice surprise. Sorry we lost audio earlier. I think our batteries just died, but it's all sorted now. We still haven't had any sign of that young male leopard. I'm just going to do a quick drive past in that area again. Just check once more and then head to Chitwa Dam, probably for the sunset. See what we can see. Deadhead Tom, you say this is nice. This is your type of traffic jam, and yeah, not bad for a Wednesday afternoon traffic jam. Fortunately, the traffic jam with the wildebeest isn't too intense. They're very friendly. They don't get aggressive in traffic. No road rage from the wildebeest. Oh, look at them jumping across here just because they're trying to get through. Now we've obviously these branches around here are just for erosion purposes. We're trying to rejuvenate this area. But it's interesting to see how they jumped over them, watching the thorns and that on some of those branches. Eric the poet, you say it's great to have the gnu's on Djuma. So great gnu's to have the gnu's back on Djuma. I had to do it. Well, it's actually turned out to be a beautiful afternoon, and I think we're going to have a wonderful sunset. I'm hoping we find some elephant this afternoon. Maybe near Chitwa Dam. We'll have a look around there. Oh, I don't mind if we don't see a leopard. Might just shout at me just now. But we've had a lot of leopard sightings the last few days. It's always wonderful to see them, but it would be nice to spend some time with elephant perhaps. Maybe some other animals. Lions. It would be nice to see a male lion or pride of lions.